Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Capital Markets Day 2024 at BRAIN here in Zwingenberg. I see the slides are moving forward. It's the fifth Capital Markets Day, and I think it's my fourth. So we like to do these things to talk with you, to inform you about what's going on in the business, and to exchange views and answer your questions, obviously. My name is Adriaan Moelker. I've been with the business almost 5 years today. I have started in enzymes in 1993, and so a few years of experience in the business. Happy to be at BRAIN and to inform you about what's cooking in the business. For today, I've prepared this agenda for you, and let me quickly run you through the different presenters. So myself, I already mentioned. Second is a presentation on the technology by two people. One is Alex Peltzer here today, our head of R&D in Zwingenberg, and Andy Ellis here today, our head of fermentation and technology in Cardiff. Now, first, I'd like to congratulate Alex because he became a father 36 hours ago. Or was it 35, Alex? So, and when we were preparing for this, just so you know, he said, my wife is due on the 11th. I'm not sure I'm going to make the 12th. And he said, but I really want to be there. And I said, really? Have you talked to your wife? So now he double-checked, and he came straight from the hospital here. So wonderful news, a beautiful daughter, Emma. It shows the commitment, though, of the people at BRAIN and in general in the group to say, you know, I'm here for the business and I want to do this. Alex, by the way, has been with the business slightly longer than me, about 10 years. He's a PhD in enzyme technology, and he's also worked in other enzyme fields. Andy Ellis here on the front, our spider in the web, I would almost call him, in our Cardiff facility, leading the fermentation and technology. Been with the business about 15 years, and also has a PhD, in biochemistry? Biochemistry. Has also worked in bakery and in pharma enzymes, and so has a broad experience in the business. Next, we're going to go into some show and tell also on what it practically means with regard to our technology. And Esther Gabor here today will present that. Esther, you've been the longest with the business, I think, about 20 years. PhD in enzyme technology. And actually, the fun fact about Esther is she's one of the co-inventors of our urban mining, the gold recovery. So any questions on gold recovery, go to Esther, but she's done a great job there, which partially also helped the promotion to unit head, obviously. Next on is Darren Bryce. Darren in the front here, been with the business slightly shorter again, about 7 years, has a degree in chemistry, and has worked in pharma, industrial businesses, and in food. He leads our sales operations, so a great experience to do exactly that, and to also lead the life science solutions business that we've recently announced. Finally, Michael Schneiders. Michael, where are you? Over there. Been with the business just as long as I have, roughly about 5 years. Background in banking, and he helped BRAIN with the IPO in 2016. So many people will recognize him from that. Without further ado, I will then go into the heart of the business. First, I'm going to take you through some of the macro trends. Then, why are we in there? What's our passion in the business? Then how do we organize, and why do we slightly reshuffle, restructure going forward? Then what we're actually doing on the ground, what are the differentiating factors for us? And I'll wrap it up with a competitive space and our key actions going forward. First though, the key messages for today. Today we're announcing the combination of Bioscience Zwingenberg with the biocatalyst products business. Now remember, before we had bioproducts, bioscience, and incubator. Now we're splitting the bioscience sector and merging the science in Zwingenberg with the business in biocatalysts. Key reasons I'll go into later, but I think this is a milestone event for the business. Second, this results in a reduction of the segments that we're going to report. So in our reporting, you will be seeing exactly this, and to make it simpler actually for all the investors, customers, and analysts in the market. Thirdly, key message you must have noticed, and we're so happy with these two deals, is the Royalty Pharma royalty monetization deal we struck a few weeks ago, along with the Acribion Therapeutics spin-out, or the establishment of Acribion Therapeutics, both of which have resulted in an immensely improved liquidity and earnings position. Now, I would call this also a milestone event for the business, which makes us much less dependent on capital injections, which makes us cash flow positive quicker, and so on and so forth. Just to illustrate, the Acribion Therapeutics alone reduces our cash spend every year by about 2 million. So that is, for us, is very substantial. Next, the successful commercialization of the incubator, and we'll go into that later, will continue. So the cash flows will continue to come in, and we'll continue to monetize the incubator. And finally, we're announcing today new 5-year targets, which are 100 million for the BRAIN Biocatalysts, as we now call it, division, along with a 15% adjusted EBITDA in 5 years, whilst maintaining a high R&D ratio, which of course is the lifeblood of this business. Then, sorry, a couple of macro trends. We're playing in the field of the big challenges of the world. I mean, you talk about energy and environment pollution. You talk about farming, livestock farming being one of the most polluting things that we humans actually do. Food security, always a big topic. We play in that field, and I'll go into more detail later. Planetary boundaries, the greenhouse gas emissions, the issues that are being caused for climate change. We in biotechnology can play a big role in almost all of them, and that is a key fact of life. When I become a little more specific, and we're largely in food here, of course, when you look at food production, actually, and not many people realize, most of the food products we consume today have in some way, shape, or form enzyme technology at the basis of it, either as a process ingredient or as an ingredient in the product itself, like in baking. But many products contain enzymes or have been used or are using enzymes in the process. Food waste reduction, improving production times, improving yields, digestibility of plant proteins, all of these things are relevant to us, leading to using less scarce resources, reduction of CO2 emissions, and being more efficient in general. So we're working on something really great for society. But not only food, also in industrial production, enzymes can play a big role, or biotechnology can play a big role. For instance, on the left here on your chart, and this is really nice. I mean, this is the first gold that has been produced with our process recovered from e-waste, or waste in general. And our biological process has been able to do that. So not only in food, also in industrial, we play a role. On the right, you can see biomolecules will be produced by biotechnology as well. And the one you see on the right over there is our BMC molecule that is part of the CRISPR-Cas system that we developed, which aids the things that are mentioned here. For instance, active pharmaceutical ingredients via biocatalysis, natural preservatives or technical additives can be made with the use of our technology. All of that resulting in substitution of high energy chemical reactions with biological processes. Now, having said all of that, where is our passion? And let me first speak about myself. When I joined the biotechnology business in 1993, I did that for a reason, actually. Is because I felt, even at that point, that biotechnology was something good for the world, that we made a meaningful contribution, and that we would be able to do something that changed the way, let's say, polluting industry was done. What was a fact 30 years ago is a fact today, and even more so, because our technology has been able to deliver lots of the things that I was then still dreaming about. So to show our passion, and this passion is to make a difference, is shared by many of the people in our business. I mean, you talk to the people here in the house, or you go to Cardiff, you go to Newkirk, Buttelborn, all the sites we've got. The passion of our people is to do something that is good. So to give you examples, you know, words are nice, but examples of what we're actually doing, I mapped it along the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. So we play to many of these goals, and you may understand, you may know the pictorial representation of all of these. Food security, improved health, minimizing pollutants, promoting sustainable industrialization, and new techniques for precise editing all contribute to these goals. Over here I'm going to show you what we're doing in our current products business, and here will pop up what we're doing in the sciencey, new wave kind of things. First, in food security, you have food enzymes, beverage, baking, and dairy enzymes that play a key role for food. But in our science business, we work on natural preservatives, animal protein replacement. Think about the cow I showed you on page 2, and plant-based proteins. On improved health and well-being, we just launched the Life Science Solutions initiative, headed up by Darren Bryce here, to actually cater to the needs of the pharma/life science business. Now, we will not become a pharma company, but we will cater to the needs of pharma companies and help the enzymatic cascades that are needed in that space. Also, we're working on things like novel sweeteners, drug API development, and enzymatic wound care. Enzymatic wound care, of course, being our Solus Cure business that we have established. On minimizing the pollutants, we today have starch processing enzymes. Enzymes used in the, for producing fuel ethanol, for instance, or potable alcohol. But also we have urban mining, already mentioned, is the gold extraction. Battery recycling, similar process. Esther will tell you more about that. And utilizing food streams. On promoting sustainable industrialization, again, the dairy proteins, we're playing in that space now. We have existing sales into this segment where we replace dairy proteins through fermented proteins. But also we're working on CO2 as a feedstock, enzymatic syntheses, and for instance, biolubricants. And on the new techniques for precise editing, they play as a platform technology to almost all of these SDGs, because it's an enabling technology. Remember, we established Acrybion Therapeutics, which is the use of our CRISPR-Cas tool for pharma, and we retained at BRAIN the ability and the technology and the rights to use this technology for our own products in food, in industrial, wherever we want to use it, i.e. not pharma. And that is an enabling technology, fast and precise, with a novel mode of action that we have the rights to. Again, this is the passion that we share, and this is actually why we love doing this business. Then, further to my point on the summary slides, we're now introducing BRAIN Biocatalysts, and this is the logo we've chosen to integrate much better the science here in Swingenberg with the business in Cardiff, Newkirk, Buttelborn, Tampa, all the sites that we have. We've chosen the logo, the slogan, science to application, for a good reason. Is we had lots of good science, we had sales, but to bring the science to the application is our path and is the critical thing we need to do. So Brain Biocatalyst Science to Applications is the new division that we've launched. This division will cover, subtitle here, products, but also contract research, i.e. the business we do here out of Zwingenberg mainly, and contract manufacturing, CMO. Contract manufacturing being done largely out of our fermentation business in Cardiff. So all three elements will fall in this bracket. Now, the product side of things is the biggest segment there, with research and contract manufacturing supporting, synergizing with the products business. I'll go into more detail later. Remember those words, product, CMO, CRO. Now this is how it's going to look, and Michel will address this slightly in slightly more detail later. We are moving Brain Zwingenberg into this space, and we're moving analytical and discovery into the incubator space, resulting in this structure going forward for reporting. Again, Michel will explain exactly what that means in terms of numbers. Brain Biocatalyst here, enzyme products, microorganisms and ingredients. And on the right, the bioincubator, including SolusCure, Acribion Therapeutics, the Royalty Pharma monetization, analytical and discovery, and any other bioincubator projects that we may find and develop with partners. Next, how we position as a solutions provider in the enzyme value chain. So further to our Brain Biocatalysts positioning. And I wanted to explain again how all the pieces in this value chain fit together. On the bottom left, starting with discovery, protein engineering, rational selection. This is the foundation, essentially, of Brain Zwingenberg. And the people here in the house have focused a lot on the discovery part. Also on the microbial strains. This is the genetic makeup, the DNA, let's say, of Brain Zwingenberg, where discovery, engineering, and strains was the foundation. Next, in the last few years, we have done a lot of work on expression technology, strain development, and bioprocess development. And now, why that is relevant is that you can discover the most wonderful protein, but if you cannot produce it, you have a problem. And we thought we had all the technology and all the people and licenses and freedom to operate to further develop that space. Just to explain, a microbial strain is essentially a small factory. So when we want to produce economically, we need a good factory in terms of fermentation, process design, and all that. But the real factory as well is the strain. So the better we engineer the strain, the more efficient we make it, the more we increase the yields. Actually, we're increasing the capacity of the steel in the ground of our fermenters. This is a very important point that I think you need to understand. So the strain development, the expression technology, and all that allows us to make proteins at high amounts at low cost. And that's been a key building block that is also supporting the Brain Biocatalysts' new positioning. Then we have production in Cardiff. These are two beautiful fermenters. Andy will explain everything about that. We have formulation and blending, of course. We acquired some businesses there, and we have sales. From my explanation, it should be clear that Brain Biocatalyst division capitalizes on that whole value chain. Brain Bioincubator, the segment on the right that I showed you, capitalizes more on the left, on the discovery and strain development, but not on the sales per se. So typically, a bioincubator project would be research and development with a partner bringing it to market. A little bit more in detail about the unique offering that I believe is here is, again, contract research, contract manufacturing, and products. And these work synergistically together. Most enzyme businesses have a products business, a business where you develop a product, you produce it, and you sell it. We're in the lucky circumstance that we have a science business, a CRO, contract research business, and a CMO working for partners as a contract manufacturer that actually tap the same technology platform. What that does, it makes us much less dependent on the customers we have in the products business. Actually, we have many more tentacles in the marketplace with customers, collaborators, and people that we can creatively offer these different services to. I jokingly sometimes say, if I could design a company and make it robust, I would probably design it like this, because it allows us in the products business to punch above our weight in terms of innovation and in terms of industry relationships. So it's a good situation to be in. So therefore I say, and the subtitle, we are the Swiss Army knife, I don't know if you have one, solutions provider for specialized wide biotech challenges. That's what we are, essentially. So not only that, and I included this sheet on market size. I get this question a lot. What's our market size? In food enzymes alone, our market is well over 2 billion, accessible market. Now, we're roughly 50 million, so we're low single digit, even if you define the market as such. And this is enzymes alone. We also sell ancillary products, yeasts, emulsifiers, fibers. So in enzymes alone, our market upside is really major. And some of the applications I mapped here, I rounded it to the next 100 million for the simple reason that any market number in enzymes you can find on the web, ChatGPT, if you try, enzymes market, you can find market sizes from 10 billion to 200 billion. This is based on brain research, it says on the bottom right, where we know our business, where we talk to our customers, that we have experience with these businesses, and I would confidently say are reasonably accurate in our market size estimate. So biggest market there is starch processing, but also life sciences on the right, again, Darren Bryce leading that business, is very substantial. In baking, we have a good market share today. In brewing, we have a wonderful portfolio, but still a low market share we need to penetrate. And in specialities, even though it looks very small there, it is a niche that is relatively high margin, so we focus on that too. So there's different reasons for all of these segments, all of these applications to focus on. The commonality being, it's all food and life sciences for us. And that space is by far big enough to be successful in. Explain a little bit more about our customer base. The customer base we have is highly diversified. We work with a lot of fast-moving consumer goods leaders. Over half of the large FMCGs are active customers of ours. We work with most of the leading flavor companies, which is not a small thing to consider. And science customers for our research business are often large multinationals. So we have that space covered pretty well, to be honest. We also work with small and medium-sized enterprises, and a lot of companies are our customers. Typically, these are regional leaders, or in the science business, they are startups quite often. So we try and grow with the startups. What we also have, though, is a tail of smaller customers that we typically cater to with distributors. So smaller regional accounts would be handled by distributors, and we have 10 plus distributors worldwide, a reasonable amount of sales. But truth be told, the middle sector, the SMEs, are the largest segment for our sales. Sales, remember, largely products. Next, and this is one I'm quite pleased with, actually, is our enzyme pipeline. Again, new enzyme development is the lifeblood of our business. And in any business, you want to see a process, and you want to see content of, are we actually pursuing all of the innovations that we can? This is our funnel of new enzyme products. It goes from ideation, what could we do, to feasibility, let's test it, to project, now we're really working on it, and launch is going to be launched. So we have enzyme molecules in each of it. This is not just a new blend, it is not a line extension, it's not a new formulation, this is a novel enzyme. A novel enzyme could be a copy of a competitive enzyme, but it could also be an improved version of a competitive enzyme or one that we have today, or an entirely new one. You will understand that I, for competitive reasons, will not say what these are, but trust me, this is a key priority of my everyday work at the company. So we have a pipeline, we have a funnel, and we have risk-adjusted net present values that we have calculated. With the risk adjustment and with all the things that we consider, that pipeline is worth well over 25 million for the next 10 years. Well over 25 million. And look, I didn't even include any value for the ideation part, which hopefully will come up with more innovation. Long story short, we have been building this for years. We're actively pursuing this and actively trying to launch new products onto the marketplace that are new and different. The lifeblood of the business. Talk about mergers and acquisitions. I didn't mention it yet. One of the key things that I have mentioned to you more often is my goal of doing bolt-on acquisitions. Now, we've done bolt-ons before. We started with Weiss Biotech. You will remember that about 12 years ago. Biocatalysts was acquired some 8 years ago. Then in 2021, we bought Biosun as a bolt-on acquisition to get North America exposure and tackle that market. 3 years ago, we bought Biotech, the baking business, for access into the baking market. Remember, from the applications, baking is one of the bigger food enzymes markets, so we wanted to be in there. And I would totally expect that we find some new bolt-ons going forward. What that could be another geographic, could be another product acquisition, could be steel in the ground capacity type thing. We don't know yet, but I have a list and I have a wish list that Michel will also address, I believe, Michel. Next to that, of course, we have organic growth supporting these businesses. So it's about organic growth, it is about innovation, the enzyme pipeline I talked about, and it's about bolt-on acquisition to get to an even bigger future. Now switch gears slightly to bioincubator. You see that on the top right. The bioincubator, so the right-hand segment I showed you before, has quite substantial cash coming out in the years to come, thanks to some of the deals we've made. So the risk-adjusted net present value of combined projects in here is well over 100 million. Talk about the Royalty Pharma Pharvaris compound, the royalty monetization. The total deal is up 138 million, up to 138 million cash in, where obviously we banked 18 million already, so 120 million still to come. Acribion Therapeutics, as I mentioned, the CRISPR-Cas for oncology, we've successfully founded that company, or they have successfully, I now have to say they, not us anymore, sorry. Up to 92 million cash in, plus additional royalties at, and emphasize this, at zero ongoing cost to us. This was important for us to do, that we didn't have any cash burn there anymore, be able to use the technology for our own strains and externalize the expense, if you like, whilst keeping the upside. And that is a model I've been trying to build and I've been building the last 4 years. On SolusCure, we're going to phase 2A extension with the objective to show the efficacy, dose response curve. More enzyme is a higher response. We need to show that to go into phase 2B and attract more investors. We found the money, they have found the money to do that extension. It's going to start 1st of January, as let's say early next year, with a half-year run time for that study. So that's good news on SolarScure. On BioGold, the valorizing of urban waste, and thank you again, Esther, we still look to announce the partner. They haven't agreed on a press release yet, but they're close to it. If you really research very well, then you could find it, but I'm not going to tell you here today. Brazein, as always, ongoing project. Still very good idea. We're talking to multiple large partners, and we look to monetize that investment going forward. And then there's a pipeline of new ideas. Even today on LinkedIn, or yesterday on LinkedIn, I don't know, we didn't announce it with a press release, but we announced it on LinkedIn, is a collaboration we struck with Goa Ventures, a Dutch company, on the valorization of seaweed. So they buy today our enzymes already for trials and testing to convert seaweed into food ingredients. So that's one other initiative that we're doing, and you should be on the lookout for things like this going forward. So we have a continued pipeline of things, and please check LinkedIn for that announcement with Goa. Seaweed, of course, being one of the bigger environmentally friendly options for food production. Talk a little bit about a competitive space. How am I doing for time? Yep, 10 o'clock. In my view, we are quite unique. And an investor or analyst community, like most of the people here today, always look for comparable companies. It's not that easy to find. We have competitive space, the wide capability, wide biotech leaders, Novo Nordisk and IFF. We have targeted enzyme specialists. DSM Firmenich would be placed in there, Kerry, Amano, or my old company, AB Enzymes, would be in there, all focused on the products. In our CRO space, you could think of companies like Ginkgo or ArcticZymes or Codexis. In our CMO space, you could think of Olon in Italy or Firmic or Biobased in Biobased Europe in Belgium. And on the end use, sometimes people confuse us with that, is we more cater to that end use rather than compete. So companies like Better Dairy, Formo, Bonumose are in the alternative proteins, alternative sugars kind of space. We cannot be compared with any of these, essentially, on a one-to-one basis. Plus, if you really wanted to compare us, then it would be hard as well, because we publish data externally, as you well know, but most of these people don't, because they're part of larger conglomerates, and the comparisons are really, really difficult. In other words, good luck assessing how we can be compared. But truth be told, most of these companies we buy from, sell to, compete with, produce for, produce with. It is a very connected industry, if you like. So in summary, we're very well positioned for earnings growth. We have a passion for sustainability, for innovation, and enabling the bio-based future. We have a strategy to become a global top 10 enzyme company, and we want to harvest and commercialize the incubator. We have a uniqueness in the combination of products, CMO and CRO, and we are all based on a common technology platform that caters to all three, which should lead to earnings growth potential. And earnings growth obviously being a key driver of share price and market cap. Initiatives that we're focusing on, innovation with and leading in targeted areas, the segment approach that I talked about, partner with leaders in the field, the large FMCGs, the large flavor companies, the collaborators out there, the biotech startups, a pipeline of new ideas and new products as the basis for our success, the enzyme pipeline I talked about, monetizing the high-yielding microorganism hosts, again, the mini factories that we can use internally as well as sell that capability externally, so monetizing that middle part of the value chain I explained to you. Develop further our technology toolkit. Alex Pelzer will talk about that. Bioinformatics being a very important field. CRISPR-Cas, monetizing what we've developed. The strains, again, and the scale-up in Cardiff. Realizing the hard and soft synergies in the group. So with these bolt-ons, we want to integrate and monetize these synergies, and of course, seek bolt-on acquisitions. That is the extent of the talk, so I guess we have 5 minutes for questions, and I do need to check, they told me, what the question. I have a question here. Does BRAIN still have a share in Acribion Therapeutics? No. 0 share. It's a totally separate company. We have no share. We didn't want to have a share because we thought it would be better this way. We have the upside, but we do not have any cost going forward or any work to be done in Acribion Therapeutics. Another question is, what is the shareholder structure? I think we can. It can be looked up on the web. I mean, we have 22 million shares. Approximately 48% is in the hands of MP Beteiligungs GmbH, and then there's a number of other large shareholders, some of whom are here present today. I think that's the extent of that question. Any questions from the audience, Jan?
Great, thank you. Jan Koch from Deutsche Bank. I have 2 questions on your newly created BRAIN Biocatalyst segment. How much do you need to invest to achieve the 100 million of sales? At last year's CMD, you mentioned you would like to buy some new fermenters. Has that changed? And could you also maybe speak a bit about the current capacity in the underlying industry? Do you see any kind of overcapacity?
What do we need to invest? I'd say the investment is not exponential, Jan. It is the capacity we've got in Cardiff, the capacity we've got in Newkirk, the capacity we've got in Buttelborn is in many ways is absolutely sufficient to get towards 100 million. Now, what we do need is some debottlenecking, maybe another small-scale fermenter, maybe an ultrafilter, but these are within the. Do we need a new factory? No, we don't. So the capacity, the capex for this is relatively modest compared to what is in the ground today. What was the other question? Sorry.
Yeah, the second question is, first, the overcapacity in the industry. Do you see any kind of overcapacity?
I have seen, the question is, is there overcapacity in the industry? We see some capacity, but we've also seen capacity problems with others. So there is capacity available, but it's a bit of a game of smoke and mirrors. Nobody will easily tell you that they're half empty. With some of our collaborators, we've been able to ferment. External fermentation. We do external fermentations when it's too much for us. We do that. We have not had problems with that. Difficult to answer, Jan. Difficult because capacity, as you well know from competitive reasons, is one of the most closely guarded secrets.
Makes sense. And then secondly, on the enzyme pipeline, you provided a slide. Could you also provide the peak sales of your enzyme pipeline to get a better feeling about your sales guidance?
I could, but I didn't want to do that today. So let's take that offline. I really don't want to share some of those details.
Okay,
Thank you. Other questions? Nothing from the live feed? Then probably we move to the second topic.